KCL, sir.
KCL.
Nodal is KCL. It is summation of current. Okay, so if you are having something like this, so essentially you are writing when you are writing for these two nodes, so essentially you are writing the KCL equations. Okay, but KCL in terms of voltage and resistance. So even though you are writing the current law, but you are expressing in terms of voltage and resistance. Now, in case of loop, it is based upon which? Whether it is a KCL or KVL?
KVL, sir.
KVL, right? So even though the voltage word is coming, but when you're writing the loop equation, essentially you're writing with respect to the loop current, okay? But you are writing for summation of voltages in a closed loop is 0, right? So this is what you are writing. So I hope this is very much clear to everyone that the nodal is based on KCL and the loop is based on KVL. Now we'll go for our next topic, that is superposition theorem. So why this superposition theorem is required? See, if I have a circuit something like this and I'm interested in calculating this V0 voltage. Now, do I have any other way to calculate the voltage across this 2 ohm resistance? So to find out that, we can use this superposition theorem. This is the alternate way, maybe you can say that, alternate way of calculating the current and voltages across or through the resistance. So please understand the terminology. Whenever I'm saying voltage, we should say across the element, or in such case resistor. Whereas in case of current, it is through. Okay, so we must be clear in writing the or making the statement. So current through the resistance, whereas voltage across the resistance. Okay, now look at here, this word. So how to use that? Before that, we have to understand the superposition theorem. The superposition theorem is based upon linearity property. I hope everyone must be aware of what is a superposition means. Superposition is based upon linearity. And what is the basis for linearity? How you can find out whether it is a linear or not? You must have studied in your 10th standard. What is the basis of linearity? How you can say the given expression is a linear expression or not? Yes, please, everyone, or else I'll call the roll number. Roll number 39.
Sir,
What is the basis of linearity? 53, 34. Yes, what is the basis of linearity? (32). Have you studied linearity earlier in your 12th standard or somewhere?
Sir, we studied, sir. It follows.
Sir, like one thing varies linearly with respect to other.
But there are two properties associated with which all the equation must.
Homogeneity and additivity.
Yes, please.
Homogeneity and additivity, sir.
Correct. So that is homogeneity and additivity. Good. So you must have studied y is equals to mx plus c, this line expression in your 10th standard, hope. Okay. Now the question comes whether this is a linear equation or not.
No, sir.
Whether it's a linear equation as per what the linearity condition says. Roll number 6. Roll number 6. 7.
yes, sir.
Whether y is equals to mx plus c is a linear equation or not. as per the linearity properties which one of your colleague has said. Rule number 62, I think he told homogeneity and additivity. I will write it here so that it will be clear. Linearity must satisfy homogeneity and additivity. So whether this y is equals to mx plus c satisfy these two or not. What is y is equals to mx plus c? Rule number 10. Rule number 10. Absent. 15.
Yes, sir. No, sir, it doesn't satisfy additivity.
Okay, so it's a linear.
Yeah, it's a linear equation, I think so, but it doesn't satisfy additivity.
Rule number 27. Rule number 27.
Yes, sir.
Whether it is satisfying this homogeneity and additivity. Which one is linear? Which one is satisfying this homogeneity and additivity out of these four? A, B, C, D.
Y is equal to mx, sir.
Okay, now out of these four, which one is satisfying the additivity and homogeneity?
Option
Yeah,
yes.
I think
Yes, 39.
Option yes, sir.
Okay, 28.
yes, sir.
Okay. 37.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
43.
Sir, A, sir.
53.
Sir, A.
Why?
Sir, because it follows the properties.
Which one?
It varies linearly with both the axes. So based on that.
So what's wrong with B? That also varies linearly with that, right? If you are increasing in the horizontal axis a little bit, in the similar increase will be seen in the vertical axis also. Okay, let's go to that property first. Okay, what is why this additivity and homogeneity? So it is a property of an element describing the linear relationship between the cause and effect. That's what the definition says. A linear circuit is one whose output is linearly related or directly proportional to its input, but it must satisfy the homogeneity, that is a scaling property, and additivity. So what is the scaling or homogeneity? If V is equals to IR, you are writing, and let us say you are increasing the I by a factor K, okay, then a same amount of increase must be seen at the output also. So if I'm increasing this K, this I, that is the current, let's say by amount K, so what will happen? I will be getting I into K into R, okay, whereas I into R is what? It's V, and you will be getting KV. So if you are multiplying the current with a constant value, let us say K, then a similar constant or the same value you will be seeing for V also. So if I take this, let us say this one. Now assume that I am having something like y is equals to mx. Okay, so if x I am multiplying with a constant value k, so if I'm standing here, the corresponding y is here. If this value, let us say 2, is getting multiplied with, let us say 5. Okay, so what you will be getting with respect to that slope, you will be getting some value. Assume that m is equals to 1. Then you will be getting 10 here and 10 here. Okay, so this is what the homogeneity says. So whatever scaling you are doing in the cause, the same scaling must be seen at the effect, right? Or in both the ways. Now, what is additivity? Additivity says that if V1 is I1R1, or I1R, and V2 is I2R, and if I write, let us say, I is equals to I1 plus I2, then a similar expression I should get for V. That means the total voltage V must be V1 plus V2. So let us do it in this way. If I'm writing V is equals to IR and substitute this I as this equation. Okay, let us substitute it here. So what you will find, V is equals to I1 plus I2 into R. Now expand it, it becomes I1R plus I2R. So what is happening? V is becoming V1 plus V2. So this is what is called as the additivity. Now, where this y is equals to mx plus c is violating, it is violating both y. Let us say for this additivity property, if I'm writing x is equals to x1 plus x2, so what you're expecting, if your input is changing in such a way, your output also must be y1 plus y2. So your ultimate output must look like y1 plus y2. This is what is expected. Are you following it? If the input is this, you are expecting this as the output. Let us now substitute the x value here. You will be getting y is equals to m times x1 plus x2 plus c, and then you will end up with m dot x1 plus m dot x2 plus c, and you can say see here there is a constant missing which is not satisfying the other part. Okay, so let us say if I'm taking in this way, so you'll be ending up with something like y1 plus m2 x2 and nothing. Okay, so you don't have anything here. So it is not satisfying your additivity property. Is that okay? Are you following it? Why it is happening? Because of this intercept, which is here in this case in the x-axis. Okay, so even though your slope is fine, everything is okay, that looks a straight line, but it is not satisfying the linearity property. Hence, the equation y is mx plus c is not your equation which is satisfying the homogeneity and additivity. Although you may sometimes call it a linear, but the condition is, you can say that if c is 0, that means the constant turns to 0, or it's tending towards to 0, then you may find it as a linear one, right? So you have to understand, when you are saying linearity for the superposition, it must satisfy the homogeneity and additivity. So that we have to understand always. You should not say like if there is a straight line like this, or if there is a straight line like this, okay, then it is a linear. One can argue that whenever there is a straight line, it is a linear. No, it's not correct. You can see here, if I'm increasing this value, the x-axis value by some value, its corresponding change is not happening with respect to the y. I hope this is clear to everyone. Is that okay? Is there any doubt? Now, what is Ohm's law? V is equals to IR. So that's what I am saying. This is linear. Please understand. Look at here what I am explaining here. This is satisfying the additivity. But if I add a constant and make it like a resembles like your line equation, which is y is equals to mx plus c, then because of this intercept, these properties are getting violated. Yes, is it fine? Shall we go ahead?
Yes, sir.
I'm not understanding what this 49 roll number is writing in real means what, I do not know. And 32 in anywhere linear only. I don't know. See, if you write in a colloquial way, that's not a correct way to discuss in the official forum. I'm saying if you include the thermal resistance too, sir. See, that and all is a different case. We are not looking for the getting the things in a practical aspect. We are discussing at this point what exactly the superposition or the linearity or the homogeneity additivity means. Okay, how to make the things as a linear, that's a completely different aspect. Okay, that's what we are that is we are not discussing at this moment. Is it fine? Okay, so now what is the superposition theorem? Superposition theorem states that the voltage across or the current through an element in a linear circuit. Now, what is a linear circuit? A circuit which comprises of linear element. Now, what are your linear element? What are the different elements you know? Let us start with this. You know resistance. You must be aware of capacitor. You must be aware of inductor, maybe diode, and then maybe BJT. At least these many elements you must have studied in your 12th standard. Okay, and also in your first year. Now, can anyone quickly tell me how many of them are the linear elements?
Sir, it depends upon the connection, right? Like if they are in series or parallel, it changes.
How should I identify the linearity? That is also one question in such kind of elements. You have to understand.
Sir, we can get your voice. It's pretty low.
Okay. So you have to understand first what is the current voltage equation for this. Okay. So whenever you are looking for whether the element is a linear element or not, you must depend on its.
So I think RCL, sir.
IV characteristics. Okay. So you have to look into its IV characteristics. You have to either look into its IV characteristics or sometimes the transfer characteristics. It depends on what kind of things you are using. Okay. So what about, let us start with the simplest element, your resistance. The IV characteristics is V is equals to IR. Okay. So it looks like this. What about this R? Resistance, of course, is a linear element. Now capacitor also you have studied. What is the current voltage relation for the capacitor? V is equals to I is equals to C dV by dt. And here we will be getting L di by dt is voltage. What about the diode? What is the diode equation? Okay, can anyone comment whether V is equals to L di by dt corresponds to linear or not?
Yes, sir, it's linear.
It's linear. Okay, this is also linear, that's also linear. Fine. What about the diode? Either you can recall the diode equation or
Linear,
you
sir.
can, yes, please.
Non-linear, sir.
It's a non-linear device. Okay, your diode characteristics looks like this, so it's a highly non-linear. What about the BJT? BJT characteristics, so input output also looks like this. Okay, so this is also a non-linear device. So is that clear? So the superposition theorem is valid for linear elements. That is first you have to understand from the statement. Is that okay? Is it fine? Shall we go ahead now?
Yes, sir.
That means what? If your circuit is having non-linear element, you cannot apply the superposition. If non-linear elements are connected or present in circuit, superposition cannot be used. It's very simple, right? So now read the first line again. It states that the voltage across or the current through an element in a linear circuit is the algebraic sum of voltage across or the current through that element due to each independent source acting alone. That means what? If I am having a circuit like this, let us consider a simplest circuit in this way. If this is V1, V2, and assume that I am interested in, and let us say if I am interested in the current through R1, which is I1. Okay, I am only interested in knowing the current through R1, which I am writing as I1. So what it says, it is the algebraic sum of the voltages or the current through the element due to each independent source acting alone. So how many independent sources are there? Here in this case, 2 independent sources are there. So when they are acting alone, that means what? Let us say V1 is acting alone, then how the circuit will look like? Circuit will look like this. Since it is a voltage source, we will short circuit it. And V2 acting alone, then how the circuit will look like? Circuit will look like this. That's R2 and this is R3. Let us say this is I1 dash and that's I2 dash double dash. Okay. So if I'm interested in knowing the current through a certain resistance, let us say in this case R1, then the current flowing in this case, when both the sources are acting simultaneously, both sources acting simultaneously. Let us say this current is I1, and now you have to consider each source independently acting alone in the circuit. So let us say this is the case when V1 is only there and the current through R1 is I1 dash, and the current through R1 in case when V2 is acting alone, it is I1 double dash. Then what superposition theorem says that the I1, that means when both the sources are acting together, is equals to algebraic sum of I1 dash and I2, sorry, I1 dash and I1 double dash. So in this case, when the V1 is acting alone, obviously the current through R1 will go from left to right. Whereas in case of V2 acting alone, the current will go from right to left. So Since you are interested in algebraic sum, you have to write. Is that okay? This is what the superposition theorem says. Is there any doubt? Have you understood the thing?
Yes, sir.
Whether all the annotations and the writing part is visible and clear, legible for you or everyone? Okay, then let us assume one example. Let us say that I am interested in the voltage V0 across this 2 ohm resistance. So let's find out when both sources acting simultaneously so what it says, maybe you can apply a nodal. This is V0. You can consider this node also, or you can think of merging these two and then also you can consider. Okay, let us say this I am merging. Is it okay? Shall I merge these two, 3 plus 2, or you want to see it separately? Let us, okay, consider V0 separate. And this is, let's say V1. So one can write equation as V0 by 2 plus V0 minus V1 by 3 is 0. And the second equation can be written as V1 minus V0 by 3 plus V1 minus 20 by 5 minus 8 is 0. Now can anyone tell me what is the relation between V0 and V1? 3V0 plus 2V0 minus 2V1 is 0. So this comes out to be 5V0 is 2V1, or else V1 is 5 by 2 V0. Is that okay? Now please help me here in writing or solving this equation. This can be written as 5V1 minus 5V0 plus 3V1 minus 60 is 8 into 15. And these two comes together as 8V1 minus 5V0 is equals to what? What is this?
180.
Yeah, 180, sir.
Is it correct?
Yes, sir.
Now what about the V0? What is V0 there then? What is V0, please?
12 volts.
I do not know. You have to tell me. I don't have answers. Is it 12 volt? Is that correct? Hey, now at least everyone
Sir,
can tell.
12 volts.
Or you again want to listen your name? Okay, now you have to consider. Okay, fine, good. Now what you have to do, you have to consider one source alone at a time. So this is the case when only 20 volt voltage source is acting, and that is the case when only 8 ampere current source is acting. Now one thing you have to understand that when you are using the superposition, let us say for 20 volts, one of the source, all the other sources, either they will be short circuited or they will be open circuited. So what you are supposed to do is you have to nullify their presence. So how you can do that? If it is a voltage source, you have to short it. If it is a current source, you have to open it. How you can nullify it? Voltage exists when there is a open circuit. Hence, to nullify or to remove it, you have to short it. Similarly, current only exists when there is a closed path. So you don't want any current from that branch. Hence, you are opening it. Is that okay? So that is why you can see here this 8 amperes is opened here. Nothing is there in this case. Similarly, this 20 volts is short circuited here. Is that fine? Good. Now, let us start with the circuit number B, and then we'll jump to the C. So for B, what you are interested in is 2 ohms. So how you can find out the voltage at 2 ohms? Can anyone quickly do that? You can use the voltage divider. You are interested in this voltage across this resistance. Hence, you have to take 20 into 2 divided by all the resistances. So 2 plus 3 plus 5, that is 10. And this comes
4
out
volts, sir.
4. Let us call this as equation number 3. Now let's go to the other part here. C. You can use the current divider. And once you use the current divider, once you know the current flowing this 2 ohms, you can multiply that 2 with that current with the 2 ohms, and you will be getting the voltage across it. Is that okay? So if you are interested in current flowing in this branch, then you have to take the resistance of the other branch. Do you remember this? Can anyone quickly tell me what is the current? 5 into 8 divided by 5 plus 5. Obviously it is both the resistance are coming same. 5, 3 plus 2 also 5, and there is a 5, so current will be divided equally. Hence this comes out to be 4. That means what? The current in this branch is 4 amperes, and in this branch it is 4 amperes. And now what is the voltage across 2 ohm?
8, sir.
4 into 2, that is 8. So direction of current, it is going from top to bottom, hence plus sign will come here. Similarly, what about the direction of current in this case? This is the positive side, so current direction will come in this way, and that is why this will be plus and that will be minus. Okay, so both are in having same direction, and thus they must be added, and you will be getting 4 plus this 4 plus 8. And what answer you are expecting? Please understand here. Is that fine? Now let's go to the other one more question. Okay, so this is again the superposition theorem example. Now I want you should try it once by your own, and you have to tell me what is the answer here. So use the superposition to find out V in the circuit. So what is V? V is the voltage across V is the voltage across what? This 4 ohm resistance.
4 ohms resistance.
Okay. Now, what is the voltage across this 4 ohm resistance? I could not listen. Somebody, I think Bomesh has made some comment. Okay, good. So this can be written as 4 into 6 divided by 8 plus 4. So this comes out to be 24 by 12, which is 2. So this is 2 volts. What about this case? If you find out the current through this branch and multiply with this 8 into 3 divided by 8 plus 4. So it comes out to be 24 divided by 12. So it is 2 amperes. Now 2 amperes into 4. So 2 into 4 is 8. So directions are correct. So additivity. So 2 plus, I mean, addition will be done, not additivity. 2 plus 8, that is 10. So you are expecting 10 as the value there. Let us find out how you will verify. You should able to verify the values also, right? So you have to consider both the 6 volts and 3 amperes together, and then you have to find out that value. So can anyone tell me how you can calculate here? It's very simple. You can apply a nodal analysis in a single step. You will be getting it. So you apply nodal, it will be V minus 6 divided by 8 plus V by 4 minus 3. That is equals to 0. Is that okay? Are you able to understand? This current goes in that direction. Here it goes in the opposite way. And 3 ampere is moving inwards. So this comes out to be 4V minus 24 is plus 8V is 8 into 4 into 3. So what is this?
$96.
96.
96, right? So, and 96 plus 24 will give you 12 volts is 120, and hence V is equals to 12 volts. Oh, sorry. 10 volts. Let me correct it. 12 volts is to 120. That means voltage is 10. Is that okay? So this is the way by which you can do such kind of calculation using the superposition theorem. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, in the next class, we will be starting with the Thevenin's theorem. This is one of the most important theorem of this subject. Okay, and this we will be utilizing for calculating the gain of your amplifiers and all. So that we'll be looking in our next class. So that's it for today. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.